Hey guys, what's up? This is the J Man here once again, and I want to talk about wrestling. Obviously, this week was a big week for wrestling with the Monday Night War being reinstated. We had the first ever live 3 hour show of TNA Impact on Spike TV with Hulk Hogan in charge, and that was a major ordeal. So, what I'd like to do right now is take the time to look at some news reports and some maybe some rumors and some articles about everything that went down this everything that went down Monday and the days that followed up until now. So I'm going to be reading some news off of lordsofpain.net, which is a good wrestling site to get all of your news and rumors and also message boards, things like that. So I'm going to start out by reading an article here. It says the TNA Impact Ratings for its 3 hour live show. That was on Monday night. So let's see how they did in the ratings. My question is, were they able to beat WWE Raw? Did they even come close to Raw? Or did they fail miserably? Let's find out. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that my guess is that they did a lot better than their usual show. But I still don't think it was enough to beat Raw's ratings. I think they did fairly well. I think they came close to tying, but we'll see. At least I hope they did. Actually, I'd love it if they actually beat Raw. I think that would be awesome. Word is going around that last night's live 3 hour edition of TNA Impact drew a 1.5, which is 1.5 million, average cable rating for the entire show. At this time, rating data is not available for the individual hours or quarter hours, which we're about to read anyway. So let's find out about the individual hours and the quarter hours, because those are important as well, as they tell us which segments were the most popular and most heavily watched. And I'll go over more of the things that happened on TNA. But this is interesting. They did a 1.5 million. I need something to compare that to. So let's look at the next news article here. It says Monday Night Raw, the same night, with the return of Bret Hart. Their episode scored a 3.37. Okay, so we have 3.37 compared to 1.5 that TNA did. Obviously, WWE did more than twice as much ratings. Yeah, you can pretty much expect that due to the audience that Raw has consistently. 3.37 is probably up from their usual rating, but I would think that it wouldn't be up a lot more because the show wasn't all that great. I mean, yes, the return of Bret Hart is really big, but it's been so long since Bret Hart has been in the wrestling ring or even in the wrestling news. I think a lot of interest is lost, and people just in general have kind of, hate to say forgotten about Bret Hart, but more like they've lost interest in Bret Hart because, let's face it, we know Bret Hart's not actually going to wrestle. But then again, neither is Hulk Hogan. But then again, it's more likely that Hulk Hogan will wrestle, because Hulk Hogan's deal with TNA is more permanent than Bret Hart's deal with WWE. Although we really don't know all of the details regarding the Bret Hart deal. Bret Hart might show up for one match at like WrestleMania. They're probably building towards a Bret Hart versus Vince McMahon match at WrestleMania. That's what it looked like. That's what it seems like. Because when we saw Raw go off the air, Vince McMahon gave the low blow to Bret, and that was a setup for a storyline. Otherwise, why else would they even do that? They probably would have Bret put Vince in the sharpshooter or something like that. But no. Looks like they're building towards Bret Hart versus Vince McMahon, which should be interesting, but that's still kind of far away. Although it usually takes about 2 months to build a good storyline for a WrestleMania match. My prediction is that we won't see Bret Hart in WWE for like a couple more weeks. But it remains to be seen. So anyway, Raw killed TNA in the ratings as expected. But let's see how TNA management thought of the show and the ratings, and let's also look at how WWE saw the ratings. What was their response, in other words? Okay, so it says here more Impact spoilers. Hall and Nash at Genesis, Val Venus and Angelina Love. Okay. This news comes from January 5th, 2010. And that was 2 days ago. The reports are that these spoilers come from TNA's Impact. Oh, the Impact tapings. So, in other words, the Thursday night show that was probably taped on Tuesday. It says Angelina Love was seated in the crowd and has made her return. Sean Val Venus Morley is now wrestling under his real name and using the tagline, "Ladies, I'm here." Okay, so former WWE star Val Venus, a.k.a. Sean Morley, has signed on with TNA Wrestling. Is he actually going to wrestle in the ring and perform? Or is he just going to do backstage stuff like we saw on the 3-hour show? My prediction is that he's going to be doing both. And I've always thought of him as a good wrestler and an interesting entertainer. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Val Venus. Although he won't be able to use that name. Or the phrase, "Hello, ladies." So, it's still going to be interesting to see what they do with Val Venus. I mean, I think he belongs on that show. He's a good reflection of the Attitude Era of the WWE, which was a very popular time to be a wrestling fan. So, yeah, I look forward to seeing Val Venus both in the ring and out of the ring. Next news report is that on the Genesis pay-per-view, Beer Money, Inc. will face Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Wow. If that's true, that's a pretty big match. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash being a tag team again, huge. That's awesome. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash had a huge run in WCW as the Outsiders. They were the tag team champions for I don't know how long. They were like the founding fathers of the NWO. Yeah, even though Hall and Nash now are pretty over the hill, they still have a lot of nostalgia and a lot of fans. Kevin Nash wrestles on and off. Scott Hall hasn't wrestled in probably quite a while. He usually falls off the bandwagon, but we'll see how long he lasts. Scott Hall and Nash versus Beer Money should make for a good match. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that you know what? I'm gonna say that Beer Money actually wins that. Just because I think Scott Hall and Kevin Nash won't remain a tag team for long. I see them splitting up. All right, TNA Impact Ratings breakdown. Company history made on Monday night. This news comes from January 5th, 2010. The first hour of last night's 3-hour TNA Impact scored a 1.69 rating with a 2.5 million viewers, making it the most watched hour of TV in TNA history. Wow. Awesome. By how much, I wonder? Is it by a long shot? Probably. Okay, so it says the first hour did a 1.69 compared to the overall rating of 1.5. So not much difference there. The first hour, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was the least highest rated. Okay, so it says the second hour slipped into a 1.44, so I was wrong. Second hour did less. Now, I believe that the second hour had Hulk Hogan, but let's see here. But it featured the most watched 15 minutes in TNA history with a 1.88 quarter-hour rating for Hulk Hogan's debut. So the Hulk Hogan segment did a 1.88, which is the highest 15 minutes in TNA television history. All right. So, yeah, that says a lot about Hulk Hogan and just the popularity and the audience that he brings to the table. I wonder how that did up against Bret Hart. But, Bret Hart came out like at the beginning of the show, whereas